Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new edition of This Week in Karting. It's episode number 47, August the 16th, 2022. And like all the podcasts that we do here at ekartingnews.com, first chance to listen on the EKN Radio Network app. If you have not yet downloaded that to your mobile device, get on it. This Week in Karting podcast, obviously perfect for your morning and afternoon commute. Get yourself up to speed on everything that's going on in the sport, everything that's made its way to the homepage of ekartingnews.com. My name is Rob Howden, joined today in this episode by both David Cole and our new editorial assistant, Nate Dean. I'm going to let them do the majority of the heavy lifting through this particular podcast as Nate gets himself more accustomed to what we do here podcast-wise, doing a great job over the last couple of months, coming on board with the team here at ekartingnews.com. I'm sure everyone will see him when he's with us at the SuperKarts USA Super Nationals in November in Las Vegas. This edition of This Week in Karting presented by RaceLab. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or to put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TB Kart. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TB Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. All right, David, Nate, last show, episode 46, not too bad. A couple of weeks ago, we're trying to make these things a lot more regular. And of course, David Cole was on vacation last week. I was somewhere else. Nate was busy, so we essentially took last week off. But guys, obviously back at it here right now. Lots to do, lots to talk about today. We'll make these a lot more regular with so much news coming up. But David, I think some of the biggest news obviously landing is all the schedules for 2023 finally starting to land. SuperKarts USA rolling out their 2023 Winter Series and Pro Tour calendars.
Yeah, we've already started with 2023 calendars over the last couple of episodes of This Week in Karting. And the big story this episode is the 2023 schedule for SuperKarts USA Winter Series and Pro Tour schedule. That was kind of the, we're kind of sitting there waiting, looking and wondering when they're going to come out, what's going to happen, what's going on with Winter Series. You know, there was that talk of a January United States Pro Kart Series. So how is that going to affect Winter Series? Well, looking at this, the schedule that SuperKarts USA released, it looks like nothing's going to change in terms of the kind of the format with 2 race weekends for Winter Series. And then Pro Tour having their same 3 weekends with Winter Nationals, Spring Nationals, and then Summer Nationals. Nate, kind of give us a rundown of the Winter Series dates and what we can expect to begin the 2023 season.
Yeah, so right now, obviously, SCUs are not announcing where those races will be held, but see, we have the January 13th through 15th round, and then the February 10th through 12th round. So again, not too sure where those races will be held. You can kind of take a guess of your favorite
Right.
Southern track, but moving on. Pro Tour.
That's kind of the question mark when you look at the schedule to begin with, because it's been at the AMR Motorplex at Homestead Miami Speedway. I think I got the name right. Presented by
AMR Homestead Miami Motorplex, presented by MG Tires.
Yes, there you go. That's what it is. Yeah. I get it. I'm terrible with names, Rob.
I know.
We just call it AMR. So we'll just call it AMR for short right now that we got the official name out of the way. But typically it's been there since the first year where I think we went to 2 different locations, Rob, if you recall. I know Ocala was one of them.
Ocala, yeah.
And then of course Homestead. I don't think they had a third location. I think it was just those 2.
Just the 2, I think.
And then so it's been at Homestead. That has been the home for the last few years. So I don't know of any racetrack aside from that could really host the Winter Series in terms of the large haulers, the large paddock space that you do need. We do know that the
Orlando.
Anderson. Yeah, Orlando is a possibility. You know, we've gotten the 300 entries there at the United States Pro Kart Series. So that could be a possibility. It's just strange to see SCUSA going to Orlando. I just, from the history that we've seen in the past, the kind of the relationship there.
True enough. Yeah. That's I think that's a key to think about. Obviously, Andre Martins, who runs the program there, has had a lot of, obviously very connected to the rock program. We've seen a lot of rock races there, but then the IAME program that is USPKS was there as well. So you never know. Could be Orlando. Homestead obviously would be an easy lock to go back to Homestead again. There's not a lot of tracks, David, as you said, they can host a big race.
What if they did both racetracks? I mean, that could, instead of being locked into one facility, you have the opportunity of going to two different locations. Maybe start off down in Homestead because it's the most furthest location, all the way down in Miami, and then come back up to Orlando in February. Again, we're kind of working on a story about this, but it seems that a lot of the series and programs are kind of working together, and maybe there's an opportunity where Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA and the Florida Winter Tour are going to be working together and maybe working at the same facilities for the 2023 winter programs. Well, listen, there's a lot of things that are happening right now where people are actually working together to a certain extent, right? We know that SCUSA and Rock Cup and COTA and USPKS are coming together in terms of potential licensing and penalties and whatever it may be that's happening, suspensions, etc. We're hearing word that and we're actually working on a little note on this, that potentially the powers that be actually got together in the off season or during the middle of the season, rather than not off season, the middle of the season, to plan the 2023 season, so they weren't stepping on top of each other. So, David, maybe that paves the way. Maybe there are good things happening in terms of communication that could help the teams, right? Not having to move their equipment as much. Yeah, so that could be the leading factor as to why it is still a TBA to be announced in terms of locations for those two events. We're still waiting to hear what Rock Cup USA is going to do for the 2023 season. They are kind of the third rail of that, along with Challenge in the Americas. We know Andy Staisman's been working on finalizing the contracts. He's waiting to make sure his locations are secure 100% before those actual dates and locations are announced. So that should be coming out soon. But going into Pro Tour, Nate, it's pretty much going to be the same race weekends as what we saw in 2022.
Yeah, so obviously starting things off at NOLA for the Winter Nat with March 31st through April 2nd, same track as we went this year. Again, the June 9th through 11th is still a TBA that was held by Utah Motorsports Campus this year. And then they'll be ending out the Pro Tour season on the final weekend of July on the 28th through the 30th at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Yeah, Dave, Newcastle's kind of become the spiritual home of the finale, isn't it? The Summer Nats? Yeah, I did not think that Newcastle was going to be left off the calendar for now, in the near future, to be real honest about it. It's kind of just a good place with the multiple configurations that you can throw at racers at the facility. And then Mike Adams and Tom Kutcher have a good rapport, understand what, each other need in terms of, prior to the race weekend and then during race weekend. NOLA, I'm shocked we're going back the same weekend. That's obviously a busy time in that region. So again, hotels are going to be a very key aspect to that weekend, being at NOLA, also being part of spring break for a lot of Northerners, such as myself. It could be another reason why I might not be there again. But we'll get into that later. Vacation request denied. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing we have it's a good thing we have a third employee, because Nate, you might as well pack your bags for NOLA for that weekend. That's it. We got to break him in. We got to give him company burger. We got lots of stuff we got to take Nate to. He's probably never been to Bourbon Street as well too. So that'll be Bourbon is a waste of time. It's filthy. It smells like pee. It's horrible. It's perfect for young people such as Nate, right? Yeah, that's true. Very true. I guess. Nate, maybe you want to go have some fun. Just yes, the extrovert that is Nate Dean. Yes, I appreciate the honesty, Nate. So David, looking at Spring Nationals, that's the obviously past Winter Series program
is where is Spring Nationals going to be? We've been at Utah Motorsports Campus for the last 3 editions. Yes, 3 editions over the last 4 years because of COVID. Is it still going to be out west? Is it going to be
West
somewhere?
Coast? Got to be West Coast.
That's it. But where?
Yeah.
What facility? Is it going to be possibly the new racetrack in Southern California?
There you go.
The K1 circuit. That's possibly an option. Being right there. Just minutes away from SuperCarts USA headquarters down there in Southern California. So yeah. I got to think that's going to be the number one leading contender in the clubhouse. Along with, possibly going back to PKRA, Phoenix Kart Racing Association, because of the size of the paddock there, it's doable. But June, are we going to do some night racing? Because in both of those locations, it gets really, really hot during the day. So are we going to do some night racing for Spring Nats?
Agreed. I like that. Yeah, listen, when you bring up Phoenix, there's always Tucson. We can jam everybody into the paddock there at Tucson. Great track, as we know. Pretty windy, though, as well. It's going to be hot in Tucson. Like you said, they have lights there, but not throughout the paddock. There's options for sure, David, when it comes to where we could go for the Spring Nats, for sure.
Grand Junction, that's another option as well, too. I know June's a little warm in the Rocky Mountains as well, but it's kind of central, kind of like what Utah is. So that could be a possibility as well. So there's a number of different racetracks. I don't think Pacific Northwest is an option. I don't think there's any facilities right now that can hold the numbers that the Pro Tour brings, and obviously the size of haulers and trailers and tents that we do that the Pro Tour does bring back. So Nate, do you have any other notes on the schedule?
No, not particularly. I said in a wild card guess for the Winter Series, make it a true Winter Series round and go to Road America. But I don't see that happening.
I like
anytime. It. Hey, now we laugh, but what is the main issue? We go to Road America every year. It's cutting the chicane. Drivers wouldn't do it if there's a big snowbank there every year.
I like this idea. Listen, you don't know how bad I want. You don't know how bad I want to try racing a kart in the snow. That would be awesome. That would be hilarious.
Well, as we all kind of dwell on and think about options in terms of winter kart racing, let's head to break. So our first one of this week in karting, and we'll have more regarding SuperCarts USA in terms of Super Nationals 25. We'll have some purse news and along with some driver updates regarding racing at the Super Nationals when we come back from this break on This Week in Karting.
Made in the USA. That's exactly what you get from Precision Karting Technologies. Based in Detroit, Michigan, PKT brings over 35 years of manufacturing experience to the sport of karting. Their passion for the sport began focusing around the Kid Kart platform and has expanded every year with hundreds of products designed to put you on the podium. Precision Karting Technologies is known around North America for their successful line of axles, available in all age groups. PKT manufactures a number of engine products for Comer, IAME, Rock, Rotax, and the popular Briggs & Stratton 206. A wide variety of chassis components for the many brands in the sport are available through PKT, including hubs, pedal risers, skid plates, and other hardware for your kart. Axle straightening, chassis adjustments, engine service, and specific CNC machining projects are available through their Motor City headquarters. To learn more about the many products and services available from Precision Karting Technologies, head to pktaxles.com. Top-level production with a focus on a single form of motorsport, karting. This is MG Tires. MG Tires USA, underneath the Vantage Karting Group banner, is the official distributor of the MG Tires brand for the United States. MG Tires are the official spec tire in the U.S. Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and countless clubs across the country. No matter your compound preference, MG Tires USA has you covered. Whether it's the medium SH Red or the soft SM Yellow that you find at many karting events in the U.S., or the super soft green SS and the intermediate white IC optional compounds, MG Tires USA has your winning set of rubber in stock. indoor and outdoor rental facilities can now trust MG Tires with their solution to long-lasting and the best performance with 3 different compounds available through the RL line. For more info about MG Tires USA and its extensive list of dealers near you, check out their website at mgtiresusa.com. MG Tires, for the drivers.
And welcome back to This Week in Karting. It is August 16th, 2022. I still can't get the year straight that we're in 2022.
And how is it August already?
And it's August already, and my son's driving a car, so that's kind of the weird thing. Yeah, it's like, really, it's the last 18 years has kind of been a blur, Rob. So I'm struggling with the actual date that we're in, but
I got to do it.
So welcome back to the show after our first commercial break, and as I said prior to the break, we're going to talk about Super Karts USA Super Nationals 25. A record-breaking purse has been set up for this year in the senior categories for both X30 Senior and Pro Shifter. Nate, kind of break down what they're offering up this year.
Yeah, so like you said, $25,000 purse for both X30 Senior and Pro Shifter. So first place getting a nice cash grab of $15,000, and then further going down for second, $5,000, third place, $2,500, fourth, $1,500, and then fifth place getting a nice $1,000 check.
Yeah, I like that, David. It's it's the 25th anniversary of this race. It's the biggest race we have in the sport here in North America. Started out at the Rock Pile out at the Las Vegas Karting Center. Eventually, Xplex moved its way into to the Rio. This is the way this needs to be celebrated, man. This is the race is going to be huge. We're going to get over 500 entries for sure, maybe more. 25 grand purse, 15,000 to win, and then David, they're throwing in another $5,000 if a Pro Tour champion can win. Think about this: Norberg wins the next 30 Senior. Kremers wins in Pro Shifter in the championships. Norberg's coming off a win last year, so he doesn't have the pressure from winning a Super Nats. He won one last year to really cement his legend status. Could be another $5,000. And then you've got Kremers, who's looking for that win, right? He's had it, lost it. The one thing he really needs for his resume is that win at the Super Nats. Add $5,000. That's $20,000 you're walking away with for a win on Super Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking back at my stats. I think it was 2016, which would have been the 20th edition, I believe. And there was a bonus up for Pro Tour champion to win that year. And it was Danny Formal, who won S1 Pro Tour championship and came into Vegas and won that Super Nationals and got the bonus there. So yeah, a little added pressure, I think, more so for Kremers, because again, he's still trying to get that elusive victory in Las Vegas at the Super Nationals, where Norberg, kind of like how he's been all season long, there's not the pressure really on him. It's on everybody else to beat him. That's really where the pressure lies. I think obviously when you throw in Vegas and being back at the Rio and all the different elements, there is still that kind of pressure on Norberg, because he will have that bigger, larger bullseye on his back when we head to Vegas. But to be able to see 2 different drivers walk away with $20,000 each on Super Sunday is amazing. And then you add in the BRM timepiece for pole sitter and X30 Senior and Pro Shifter, just a lot of prizes up for grabs in those 2 categories.
Yeah, Nate, they got, good thing too. They got cash up for grabs in KA100 Senior as well.
I didn't write
Scroll
notes.
down.
Oh, there it is on my second. There it is. So yeah, KA100 Senior. KA100 Senior, $2,000 for the winner. Second place gain another $1,000, and then $500 going for third for that top 3 on the podium.
Yeah, David Cole's not much for really solid scripting here, the formatting on the script. So you just got to look out for that next time.
I did let you have final say, so
that's very true.
You did, it's kind of like that, publishing sign off. You signed the corner of the page.
That's true. I did sign the corner of the page. I'll take the blame. Buck stops here on this one here. Hey, bottom line is, David, they stepped up, put some cash up for grabs on the 25th anniversary. This is a great move for SCUSA to really kind of celebrate 25 years of this amazing race.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see more other announcements coming through regarding the event, in terms of, certain ceremonies or other things to kind of highlight, it being the 25th anniversary, 25th edition of the event. Because again, while some may look at it as just another event, or it's kind of, for those who have been there a lot of years, including yourself, myself, and a lot of team owners and racers, it's, Bonner Moulton's going to be making his 25th start there at the Super National. That's just it's phenomenal. So, obviously opening ceremonies will be big, as it always is with Tom Kutcher and SCUSA. So we'll see what other things they have up their sleeves heading into Vegas.
Yeah. I think about the fact that, I've been at all 25 of these races, and it kind of it pales in comparison to Bonner having raced all 25. Like it's just for me, that's just absolutely amazing. I'm so thrilled he's going to do it. Trying to get him to do double duty, but he won't. But I'm pumped. I'm super pumped that he's doing it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see if, certain entities might allow for him to be able to do double duty. I think right now he's entered for X30 Master, so that's again a solid return for him. He was among the contenders last year, but the new category, and the one everybody's kind of talking about, at least we at ekartingnews.com over the last week, has been the addition of the K100 Master class, which, after Summer Nationals got a little bit of a boost in terms of prestige in the driver roster.
Well,
Rob, if you want to inform us a little more on that.
Well, this is David's idea. So literally he finds out that KA100 Master comes on Super Nats. He says, "Hey, Rob, this is your chance." Because I think, we've always talked about the fact how cool it would be if I got a chance to actually race one year. I'd love to see David race one year as well. We've never got to, right? I'm calling all these races. It's one of those events I'd love to cross off the list, but I can't. But now with getting some help on the PA side, David's, and Nate will have things handled on the editorial side. I said, what the hell? So yeah, I'm going to actually race KA100 Master. Now, SCUSA said, hey, listen, the class has got to get to 25 entries by August the 21st. Here we are on the 16th. I think we're going to get it by maybe Friday, potentially Saturday. I think there's 11 people entered as we do this right now. Another 5 guys I know are entering tonight to go for tomorrow. And 25 plus more have told me that they want to enter. But David, cool stuff. Martin Stone out of the gate, Eric Molinati. What else we got? Anthony Stifler, Tom Gershner all coming out as well. One of the cool stories is Travis Roberts actually saw the news and went, hey, I could do this. Now, for those of you who know who Travis is, he's the father of Tyler, who races on the national level in many different programs. Very talented young Texas driver in the mini Swift class. But Travis he ran a couple of Super Nationals back in like 2001, I think, out at the rock pile in like 80cc and then S1, I think. So he hasn't raced in a long time, and he and I were just gabbing a little bit. He's pretty pumped about this. He knows he's got to get in shape, got to put a little bit of weight on, but he's pretty excited to come back. I love having the fathers racing there when the kids are there as well.
Well, it's not that he has to put weight on; it's that the weight is a little bit higher for the Masters category because it's very similar. So we kind of had this discussion off air. 390 is a lot for a Masters driver, especially for the younger, smaller guys. And Travis is not exactly a big guy. No, so, exactly. He'll be able to put weight where he needs it around his cart. So that's the one advantage to that. But again, speaking of putting weight on, Michelle Manning right now, the only female driver in the field thus far, she has to put on a lot of weight to be able to get up to that 90 pound minimum weight division. She's entered. She's right now, as I said, the only female entered in the field thus far. So maybe we'll get a couple more female drivers. That's something we haven't really attacked on. So I think over the next couple of days on social media, we'll try and see if any of the girl power ladies out there want to try their hand at hashtag beat Rob Howden.
That's it. Hashtag beat Rob. I should make t-shirts up for everybody. If there's 40 guys in the field, we'll have to get 39 of them.
There you go. At least
I'll say this: it's been kind of cool. Initially I was like, man, I hope we're able to get to 25. I want to make sure this class happens because I just don't think if I had to run X30 Master, it'd be probably too much for me based on the amount of time I can get in a cart before then. But I'm feeling more like we're going to be at 30, 35, or 40 because I think there's a lot of people that are kind of on the fence waiting for SCUSA to confirm it. I talked to Miguel Mir, multi-time Texas champion. He's going to come. He's entering today or tomorrow. I'm told that David Pergande is going to run. with Josh Huff and JH Motorsports. I've been told Scott Blind, who does a lot of Margay Ignite racing, potentially going to race with Trinity. And talking to Sean Bailiff, I think he has between 3 and maybe 6 guys that want to come out and run. And I know that, David, we made our first post there on social media when I told people I was going to do it. A lot of chatter back and forth about maybe a team owner coming out. Nick Tucker, they were pulling on Nick Tucker from Nitro Kart, but the first guy to actually grab messaged me last night. Jamie Siraki from Franklin Motorsports is in. I love this.
That's a good one. He's a former Pro Tour race winner in Tag Master. Nick Tucker, a former champion on the Pro Tour in Tag Master as well too. So Miguel Mir, you already mentioned his name. He's a multi-time Texas champion. So a lot of champions going to be in there. This is not going to be a pushover field, and a lot of names that you've already mentioned that are entered, and then the potential that we could have. You got even the shifter guys who are racing in the afternoon. They have the opportunity, Chris Jennings, to race K Master in the morning, and Sketchy Barnes, we're trying to get him to do the morning session with you as well. I mean, I even offered to do his practice sessions for him. So
good stuff. So other names. Here's other names, David, like Mike Giles, Preston Newberry, who was super quick at the Challenge of the Americas this year. He's supposed to coming in potentially. Morgan LeBaron from Texas, I'm told, potentially coming in with Full Gas Motorsports. Gordon Cameron as well from Trinity Karting Group. Hearing some potential ex-Team USA Rotax racers coming into the field as well. Maybe some Starsa Karting guys coming in from back in the day. We're still trying to make sure Mike Smith feels horrible if he's not in this thing, right? Let's just put it that way. Right.
Well, I mean, he'll bring the field level down a little bit when he does enter. But,
that's true. That's very true.
It's, it's setting up to be a who's who, and then again, why can't Rollison do it? He's not busy in the morning.
There's no way he's going to, he's got 40 something carts. There's no way he's going to do it.
I know. I'm just, you just got to keep throwing down the haymakers, keep trying to get people and get involved and get entered, or at least pass it on to somebody else they know.
Here's a haymaker for you, right? He's got everybody running things. Tom Kutcher needs to race.
Well, let's get him on the golf course first.
He does want to play some golf. He said that. All right.
Nate, do you know anybody up in the Midwest? I know they had that Tag Master program that they run through like Badger, Road America. What about Minnesota and up in that area? Are you thinking, are there any names you can throw out there to kind of edge them to try and be part of this Super Nationals K100 Masters class?
Oh, gosh. All the people that come to mind. Not any big names that I can think of, at least in.
Well, just throw out some local names.
I'm sure there are some in the Route 66 and like USPKS crowd that I haven't been around enough to know.
That's true. And you're only 9 years. You're only 9 years away.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I love it. All right, folks. But bottom line is, I'm going racing the Supernats this year. We're going to get our 25. I'm going to say right now, if we get 25, we're going to end up with 35 or 40. That's what I'm saying, Dave. That's my call.
That's the throwdown. So the throwdown, the challenge has been established. Rob Howden has put it out there. Everybody sign up. Maybe you'll get a free t-shirt out of this that says hashtag I beat Rob Howden. I don't know. We'll work on some designs. We'll see what we come up with. Style, aesthetic. We'll obviously be there. So she'll be able to hand the shirt right off to you as soon as you come across the scale line. So
now, what is happening here right now? This is bull. All right.
It is what it is, Rob. At least we just want you to take the checkered flag, if anything, on Super Sunday, right?
100%. Yeah, I have to announce the next class. Remember that. I got to announce the class before and the class after. So, yeah, I need to be.
Well, you won't be on the podium, so there'll be plenty of time for you to get over from the scale line to the tower.
Listen, Nate, if that wasn't true, it would be a burn.
It would be.
But it's not a burn.
It's not a burn. It's facts. I only speak facts. That's exactly what I do here at inkartingnews.com.
All right, folks, let's go to the next break of the action. I'm going to leave the rest of this show for the boys here, Nate and David. Thank you for tuning in again. The boys will take you on the other half. And again, I'm going Supernats racing. Hope you guys come and join us. Enjoy the rest of This Week in Karting. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rollison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlson Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
So we are back from commercial on This Week in Karting, August 16th, looking at an exciting Super Nationals discussion that we just had with Rob Howden, talking about him racing there again, but kind of looking in our next two topics, kind of looking at the industry and also drivers trying to make that progression out of karting and looking to be part of the Mazda Motorsports program. The Spec MX-5 Shootout nominees were just announced last week. This is the third straight year of the program, and EKN was once again asked to offer up a list of nominees. This year, Nate, it's expanded to 41 drivers with a number of notable karters on that list that are going to be part of the shootout, to be with the date and location to be announced.
Yeah, and obviously it's really good to see Mazda continuing their involvement in karting. They've always been very influential, I'll say, in the lower ranks and getting that talent from karting up to whatever series you might want to run, whether it be sports car, Indy car. They've pretty much touched every aspect of North American racing. I mean, it's a great program for young karters to get into. I think Connor Zilish won the shootout last year, and he's doing quite well. Currently P3 in standings. He swept the weekend at Road America. He's always up there. Yeah, I think it's a very similar racing style to karting, and that helps with the progression. So it's great to see that Mazda is expanding that to 41 drivers this year.
Yeah, especially at some of the bigger tracks they go to. Obviously, Daytona, they opened up the season this year. That's a big drafting racetrack where, you know, we see that in Briggs racing. We see that what we used to see in Yamaha racing a lot, but more so in KA racing now, both junior and senior ranks, where we see a number of the nominees coming from is both junior and senior ranks. So it's exciting to see they actually expanded to 41 drivers. I know we did a list. I think it was about, half of that we provided them. You know, obviously they had some other names already kind of put on their radar in terms of the different coaching programs that they've been doing with other race teams and special weekends with Mazda. So 41 drivers, and they'll all be narrowed down by video interview to be selected to be part of that shootout with, again, the date and location to be announced. I'm expecting to hear, we'll hear that probably come later in the year, maybe November or December, when they actually will hold that. Were there any notable names on that list that you saw that were shoe-ins or maybe some surprises, Nate, that you saw on that list?
I would have to double check. I think Aiden Grotto was on there, right?
Yeah, Aiden Ingrata, one of the
Yeah.
the lone Canadians. I think he was the only Canadian. I'm looking at the list right now. Yeah, the only Canadian on that list. Aiden's had a really good season, both USPKS and Supercarts USA competition as well, back in home in Canada, racing at a number of events there this summer. So Aiden Ingrata is on that list. A number, we had Jed Perkins. He's a good Briggs and Stratton 206 racer. Making his way up into the 2-cycle ranks. A number of female drivers as well. Macy Williams is back on the list again. She and along with Hannah Greenmeyer, so they make up the female drivers on that list. But again, it's just a lot of different names with a lot of different experience that are going to be coming into the program. And again, it'll all be based on how they present themselves first off. And then once they get to the shootout, kind of how they present themselves, but also what they do on and off the racetrack.
Yeah. And just going through the list furthermore, it's just a who's who of karting at the moment. Obviously, Caleb Gaffara off that, his maiden Pro Tour championship. So he's obviously going to be one of the ones we're watching. Chase Hand is up there too. You mentioned Hannah Greenmeyer, one of the top prospects for females in motorsport in North America right now. Jeremy Fletcher also. It's a very, very strong list of names and a lot of EKN drivers of the month on here too. So it should be a very interesting shootout to watch this year.
That's a good point. Yeah, a lot of former or current EKN driver of the month in there and on that list that'll be part of the shootout for this year. Moving over to the industry side of things, GFC Karting is added some new dealers to their list, their growing network that they are establishing, getting dealers now in Texas and Canada along with Thailand. So actually 3 different countries represented in the expansion for their dealer list. Nate, kind of give us a breakdown of who are the new dealers for GFC Karting.
So Texas, I can say Trackside Karting Services with, I know that I'm pronouncing that one right. When it comes to Thailand and Western Canada,
Warwang Kumara
okay.
is a driver. He is he's been based in Southern California, LA area, been a GFC driver essentially since the beginning of GFC, was established at the end of 2018. He actually stood on the podium at Challenge in America's opening weekend in Tucson, Arizona this past year. He's based out of Thailand now and is going to be there kind of promoting the brand and establishing a shop there to be the first GFC dealer in the Asian market. So that'll be a good expansion. And then Madonna Racing in Western Canada. TJ Madonna is a racer. He was just at the Spring Nationals in Utah this past June. So they're going to be kind of focused on establishing the brand there in Western Canada with all the different racetracks that are there in the BC and Alberta and other areas of Western Canada. So again, 3 different countries for GFC expanding that dealer network.
Yeah, and it's obviously good to see GFC expanding their reach throughout different dealers. I know they've come quite a long way in the past few years that they've been on the scene. I think they still have some work to do on the eastern and mid parts of America. They're still very, to us.
And I think the Texas connection with Tim Lobaugh and Trackside Karting Services, that'll kind of help establish that with obviously they compete at the Texas Sprint Racing Series program. So once they, again, when you see it, the product in front of you, it kind of helps get that brand even more established in that area or in that region. So GFC, they do have some stranglehold on the eastern side. I think they're going to try and get a little bit more of that going in the future. But again, yeah, really establishing a strong network of dealers for that brand as they continue to improve and develop the brand and chassis that they push out for both cadet, senior racing, and shifter karts. So with that, we'll move into our third commercial break here on This Week in Karting. And when we come back, we'll talk more about editorial and podcasts, along with our EKN radio network program and where we'll be in the upcoming weeks and months. So stick around for our last segment after this break.
Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP Karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SCUSA Super Nationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. "2019 marked a new era for the Kartlift brand. The company that Tim Coyne owned and operated since 2003, one with a long tradition of quality products for the karting industry, was purchased by Ted Fashing and his business, Stockholm Karting Center, in October of 2019. Stockholm Karting Center Inc. has added the Kartlift brand to their very successful Triple T Race Products brand that has been fabricating parts for the drag racing industry for the past 25 years. We're small enough where the owner answers the phone and every call is important to us, but we're large enough to get the job done. We pride ourselves on the quality and personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. Kartlift stands, as you know, can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button, and your cart is raised into position and you're ready to go. We have traditional cart stands, single upright storage stands, Kartlift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, tire changers, and skid plate kits. Kartlift stands are available at the finest kart shops around the country, or you can order online at kartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a Kartlift and leave your crew at home.
We are back with This Week in Karting, August 16th, 2022, and we are into our final segment of this week's show. We'll talk a little bit about editorial, EKN editorial, and I think, Nate, you had a majority part of this because most of this was done as I was away on vacation. But we'll first begin with our guest column, the Begin Again series done by RK Seiler, the veteran driver out of Texas, submitted the makeover part 2, which kind of was a makeover of himself as a driver, as he's trying to get away from the car tendencies that he's been used to over the last few decades and get back into how to compete in a kart. So he was talking about working with a driver coach, Jake French being that driver coach out of PSL Karting and Full Gas Motorsports. Jake French, a Pro Tour champion, a former Rotax champion as well, back in the Minimax days in 2007, my first Rotax Grand Nationals. So again, kind of a breakdown and makeover a little bit of himself as a driver. I know I've been there a little bit each time I get back to the racetrack. Nate, have you worked with any driver coaches in the past as you're making your way up through the ranks in karting?
not like driver coaches as in tuners. I have had Alexander Kardashian is pretty much the one for me that I've worked a lot with, becoming close friends with him, and always just whenever we were under the tent working on data and such. And yeah, it's always these kind of learning experiences are hard, but it's cool that he's documenting his. And
WK champion and a Purdue Grand Prix winner.
Yes.
Winning this what was it, April, when they had the event down there in Purdue.
Yeah.
So pretty cool deal. So the next editorial, you pretty much wrote all three of these. We begin with the ECAN Driver of the Month for July 2022, and it was Oliver Calvo.
Yeah, so Oliver Calvo taking that for, I believe, the second time he's gotten ECAN Driver of the Month. Getting that for what he did in Newcastle for the final round of the SCUSA Pro Tour. He took both wins on the day in KA 100 Senior in a stacked KA 100 Senior field, especially for the Pro Tour at Newcastle. Qualifying had the same day, both days essentially, qualifying second, finishing second in the pre-final, but taking the win in the final on both days. And this was really a big breakout performance for him. We've seen him do some incredible stuff at the Lancaster Grand Prix, winning it 4 times, all of those in a row. And it's nice to see him finally get his maiden wins for the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it was February 2020 that he was driver of the month last. So that I can't even remember. I'm going to assume that was either Challenge of the Americas or possibly a California Pro Kart Challenge events that he was selected for. So great to see Calvo pick up those first career victories at the Pro Tour. It was a great weekend for him there at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And then we get into a couple of race reports, beginning with the Route 66 Sprint Series held at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati.
Yeah, so it was their first visit to MCC. They had recently done a new track extension that's very like Dousman-esque in the configuration. Brought some very close finishes, 50% or 16 of the races getting decided by less than 1/10 of a second at the line. So it was incredibly good to watch. KA 100 Senior was the class as it is in most series nowadays. 25 karts strong, with Lemke and Terlecki both taking the wins for Saturday and Sunday. And then Kardashian, Jers, and Mersberger also being up there as well. Heard a lot of positive feedback, both from the series and from the drivers, about the facility and the track. They have off track. They have a very, very nice facility with, I believe, the blanking on bailiffs, I believe, have a they've helped develop that a lot, and they've done a very, very nice job with that. And then quick shout out to Micro Swift driver Cameron Marsha, who got a win on the weekend, not both days, but just one, still impressive, where he was incredibly sick, throwing up in his helmet and qualifying, but still pushed through and did incredibly well that weekend. But yeah, good weekend for them. They'll move on to their final round at Autobahn Country Club on September 3rd and 4th. Championships are still wide open, and it'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah, that should be an exciting weekend, Labor Day weekend at the Autobahn Country Club, or the karting circuit. I'm trying to think of the name. Autobahn Country Club. I know that's the main facility, but Kart Circuit Autobahn, I believe, is what it's called. I'll get back to that later. And then the final race report from last week, the Texas Sprint Racing Series had their midsummer mashup at the Amarillo Kart Circuit up in the Panhandle section of Texas, outside Amarillo, for their 4th round of the 2022 season.
Yeah, so 163 drivers signing up for that one, a little less hitting the track at the Formula One inspired circuit that's modeled after Istanbul Park in Turkey. A lot of, again, drivers that love to go here, but the series mentioning there could possibly be its final visit due to financial issues with the track. Don't know a ton about that, so we'll leave it at that. But an interesting format with compared to other race series. You had 2 heat races. So you had qualifying in Heat 1 on Saturday, and then Heat 2 and the final on Sunday. Like I said, with Route 66, K100 kind of being the big class for most series right now. They were the biggest in the field, and Alex Stanfield, who was one of the EKN All-Stars that we posted a month or so ago, he took the win in that KA 100 field. And across all classes, it was some good racing. There's a lot of classes that had one driver just walk away with it, but it was still good in the mid pack. We'll be moving on to Speed Sports for their final round in September. That's in late September on the 22nd through the 24th for the finale.
Yeah, it's they were going to be at the MSR Houston facility, and a lot of the racers and teams spoke up and was like, let's go back to Speed Sports. And so they're going to be back there for the finale. They were there for, I would believe, was round 2 possibly this season. So yeah, excited to see that series wrap up at Speed Sports. Going on to ECAN podcast review. Again, all our podcasts are available on all the different podcast outlets, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, all the different platforms that you can find podcasts on. Make sure you look up ECAN Radio Network or ekartingnews.com. And subscribe to our podcast, be able to pick up any podcasts that we do produce, including This Week in Karting, episode 46 from July 27th is available, along with all of the coverage we have from Superkart's Summer Nationals, including the Outlap, the debrief, along with the tent talk that we held that weekend inside the PSL Karting Burrell Art tent at the Summer Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So again, a lot of new podcasts coming out over the last couple of weeks, and we'll have more coming forward, including those that will be played on the ECAN Radio Network. Again, the only karting channel playing 24 hours, 7 days a week in the world. So you'll be able to listen to any karting content that we do have, including former race calls, all the different podcasts we produce, and all the different shows that we have that are scheduled to play throughout the day and throughout the week. This Week in Karting will be playing tomorrow on the EKN Radio Network. We'll also be playing our face-to-face that is playing right now on the EKN Radio Network that included or welcomed Roger Ruthhart from the Rock Island Grand Prix. So a lot of news and info regarding this year's Labor Day street race in Rock Island, Illinois. We'll also be working on some other shows to come through the EKN Radio Network, and possibly a face-to-face coming soon with Alan Rudolph of the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy and the racetrack we mentioned earlier, Speed Sports Racing Park in North Houston, Texas. So what's coming up on EKN in terms of travel and coverage? Well, up next will be the EKN live broadcast from the Rock Island Grand Prix, September 3rd through the 4th, and Rock Island, Illinois. Again, we'll be able to provide you with live coverage, audio of the both Saturday and Sunday action. Saturday, including all the heat races that will be contested on Saturday, and then all the main event action on Sunday from the Rock Island Grand Prix. Nate, you have not yet gone to Rock Island Grand Prix, have you?
I have not. I know a lot of drivers from Stockholm have, like Keelan Kevney and Adam Lacey, who have found success there. So I believe they'll be going. At least Lacey will be going, but it should be fun to watch.
We'll be working on providing some more details and updates over the next couple of weeks about the event. So stay tuned to that. We're working with on a couple of articles regarding that event. If you haven't, check out the King article that Nate wrote regarding last year's King winners, including King of the Streets winner Andrew Bodozo, King of the Rock with 100cc with Race Liberante, and King of the Rock Briggs 206 with Michael Dittmer. A great article talking about how all three are going to be coming back to defend their crowns. And then next, after Rock Island Grand Prix, will be 2 weeks later, September 16th through the 18th, United States Pro Kart Series Hoosier State Grand Prix, Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana. Excited to be getting back to Newcastle, Indiana to wrap up this year's United States Pro Kart Series. We'll decrown all 7 champions after 2 rounds of racing at the Newcastle Motorsports Park, which they just announced will be held on the national layout. So the same counterclockwise national layout that everybody's been used to over the last, almost 2 decades of Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to see that. I like the variation that Newcastle does every once in a while, but I also think the base track that a lot of karters are familiar with produces some great racing and is fun to drive. So it's nice to see a series going back to not really the basic layout, but the base one we're all used to.
Do you like the start finish there at the end of the Long Pond straightaway, or do you recall it being at the original location right there in front of the Racer's Grill door?
I like it at the end of the straightaway. I think it's less going into that final corner with a 90 after a long straightaway on the final lap got a little interesting per se. So I think it's makes better racing and B, a bit safer where it is now.
Yeah, kind of, talking about how the Route 66 program had a lot of photo finishes. That's what this track layout will certainly do, provide a lot of photo finishes on the weekend for the series finale there on September 16th through the 18th. So again, looking forward to seeing who comes out, the winners of those final 2 rounds, and comes out as champion in those 7 different categories. So again, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and make sure you keep following along with the coverage from both those events in the coming weeks. And then that'll wrap up this edition of This Week in Karting, episode number, I got to scroll back up, 47, August 16th, 2022. I'll get that year right. So thank you, Nate, for joining us. And thank you, Rob, who was on the show previously, or in the first couple of segments, talking about himself, of course, because that's what he loves to do. So I am David Cole. Thank you again for joining us on This Week in Karting.